Alright class, we are looking at upper arm muscles today, and the first muscle we will talk about is deltoid. If you look at the picture on the left hand side, you do see the deltoid muscle, and the deltoid muscle, it actually abducts the arm. It originates from the clavicle and scapula and inserts into the deltoid tuberosity of the humerus. This is the prime abductor of the arm. The next muscle is called biceps brachii, and this is located in the anterior part of the upper arm. It originates from the coracoid process and supraglenoid tubercle of the scapula, and it inserts into the radial tuberosity. It helps to flex the forearm or the elbow joint, and also it helps to supinate the forearm. So flexion of the elbow joint or the forearm is the main function of the biceps brachii. The next muscle is brachialis, and this lies deep to biceps brachii. As you see in the picture, we have biceps brachii anteriorly and superficially, and deep to that you have the brachialis muscle. It originates from the distal humerus and inserts into the coronoid process of ulna. The brachialis, it's the prime flexor, is the prime flexor of the elbow joint or the forearm. Moving on to the posterior muscle, it's triceps brachii. This one originates from the scapula and posterior side of the humerus, and it inserts into the olecranon process of the ulna. This is an extensor of the forearm. Remember that the biceps and biceps brachii and brachialis, they work together to flex your forearm. However, the triceps work opposite to the biceps and brachialis. Therefore, triceps help to extend the forearm. Now, triceps brachii has 3 heads. We are not talking about the heads, but I want you to know that all this muscle, like all this is triceps. All this is triceps brachii. Moving on to forearm muscle. This is a picture that I usually draw out on the whiteboard, and so I tried doing it on the surface. Now we see the bones, right? You see the humerus, you see the radius and the ulna, you see the carpals, you see the metacarpals and the phalanges. Now, originating from the medial epicondyle of the humerus, we have the flexors. Remember, the flexors are located, they are superficial muscles, and they are located in the anterior side of the forearm. This picture is showing us a right anterior forearm, and we are looking at the superficial flexor muscles. All 4 muscles originate from the medial epicondyle, and they insert into different metacarpals. The first one we will talk about is called pronator teres, in green, as you see. The next one in purple is flexor carpi radialis. It also originates from the medial epicondyle and inserts into metacarpal 2 and 3. Then we have the palmaris longus, which again originates from the medial epicondyle and inserts into the palmar tendon that extends to the metacarpal. Then we have flexor carpi ulnaris, originating again from the medial epicondyle and inserting into metacarpal number 5. All these muscles, they help us flex the forearm. Flex your forearm or the knee or the elbow joint. Flexion. Okay, I try to remember these muscles as pas-fail muscle, pronator teres, P, pass, flexor carpi radialis, F for fail, palmaris longus, P for pass, and flexor carpi ulnaris, F for fail. So these are our pas-fail muscles. So looking at the diagram here, we do see flexor carpi ulnaris. Again, this is on the ulnar side, and this is a flexor originating from the medial epicondyle and inserts into the metacarpal 5. It flexes the wrist and if I said that these forearm muscles flex the elbow joint, I was wrong. Sorry. These muscles flex the wrist joint and they adduct the hand. Next, we have palmaris longus, and this originates from the medial epicondyle and inserts into the palmar aponeurosis. And you can see the tendon in the picture on the top. Do you see the palmaris longus tendon? Yeah, this is also a flexor of the wrist. The next muscle is flexor carpi radialis. This originates from the medial epicondyle of the humerus and inserts into metacarpal 2 and 3. It also flexes wrist and abducts the hand. Then we have pronator teres. It's a small muscle shown by the white arrow. It also originates from the medial epicondyle of the humerus and inserts into the lateral surface of the radius. It helps us pronate the hand and flexion of the forearm. Pronator teres. Another flexor is Brachioradialis, shown by the green arrow here. It originates from the distal humerus and inserts into the radius on the distal side of radius, and this is a flexor of the forearm. Moving on to the posterior forearm superficial muscles, and these help to extend the forearm. These help to extend the wrist joint, and that is why these are called extensors, because they help to extend the wrist joint. They all four originate from the lateral epicondyle of the humerus, and they insert into the phalanges and the metacarpals. The first one is extensor carpi ulnaris, and this originates from the lateral epicondyle, as you see, and inserts into the first metacarpal. Then we have extensor digiti minimi. This originates from the lateral epicondyle and inserts into the proximal phalanx, number 1. Then we have extensor digitorum in blue, originating from the lateral epicondyle, and this inserts into the distal and proximal phalanges. And then we have extensor carpi radialis, which originates from the lateral epicondyle and inserts into metacarpal 3 and 4. So let's take a look at the picture. It's okay. Okay. So looking at extensor carpi ulnaris first, it originates from the lateral epicondyle, as we mentioned, and inserts into metacarpal number 5. And the easiest way to identify extensor carpi ulnaris is by this. Do you see this muscle in red? Don't go by the yellow, that's pointing to a different muscle. So this right here is extensor carpi ulnaris. Don't look at the yellow. Okay. The next muscle is extensor digiti minimi. This one extends the 5th digit, and it's, do you see the muscle with the tiny gray? I'll just try to highlight it here. This muscle is extensor digiti minimi. Then we have extensor digitorum, which obviously goes to the digits. This is extensor digitorum. And this muscle originates from the lateral epicondyle and inserts into distal phalanx 2 through 5. Action, it extends the wrist and the fingers. Then we have extensor carpi radialis, which is this muscle right here. This is extensor carpi radialis. It again originates from the lateral epicondyle of the humerus and inserts into metacarpal 2 and 3. It also extends the wrist and abducts the hand. For testing purpose, just know extensor carpi radialis. Don't worry about longus and brevis. Don't worry. Okay, now these are little deeper muscles, and these two muscles, they help. Okay, the first one we will talk about is extensor pollicis brevis. It helps to extend the pollex or the thumb, and it is this one, extensor pollicis brevis, is this muscle right here. This one, extensor pollicis brevis. Okay, that's that. The last muscle is abductor pollicis longus. This helps to abduct and extend the thumb, and it's this one right here, as labeled in white, abductor pollicis longus. All right, so that's the end of the arm muscles.